in the Air National Guard. Call the Alabama Air National Guard at 1-800-TOGO-ANG or visit goang.com/AL.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, Auburn's premier home for student radio since 1971. I'm your host, Jack Hart, alongside my colorman, Davis Carroll. We'd like to welcome in our listeners and viewers from around the Auburn Opelika Megaplex and around the country and world, however you may be joining us today, whether you are watching on our new and improved YouTube live stream, listening on WEGLFM.com, or just the good old 91.1 in your car or stereo. We welcome you into the show. We're happy to have you in the booth with us for Auburn's only student-run morning drive time show. And now, without further ado, of course, we are broadcasting live from the Bradley Basin WEGL studios here in the bowels of the Harold Melton Student Center on the campus of Auburn University, where it is a crisp 65 and sunny outside this fine Monday morning. We're welcoming you into Compact Discourse. We wish you a most sincere good morning and our most thankful congratulations for you to joining us on this fine Monday morning, spending your morning with us. We sincerely appreciate it here. Davis, how are we feeling about today? How do we feel about this weekend? And are we excited about what this week has to hold?
I think even the game was a little tough for most of it. I think we ended up getting a win, so I'm pretty happy about it. Had a good weekend. Have a busy week ahead of me, but got LSU this weekend, so it'll all work out.
Lots to look forward to and lots to get excited about this week, not only inside of Compact Discourse, but also outside of Compact Discourse. There's a lot going on campus this week as fall is finally getting into full swing, as there's a chill in the air, and it continues to show. Maybe not so later in the day when the sun comes out, but for now, we're feeling the fall weather, so get out the pumpkin spice and get out the sweaters because we are here for it at present. All right, at this point, I would like to remind our audience that if at any point in the next 2 hours you feel so inclined to ask us a question, drop a hot take, or in the highly unlikely event that we get something wrong, if you want to correct us, you can go ahead and do so at 334-844-9345. That's 334-844-WEGL. You can also shoot us a tweet at CDiscAU. That's at CDISCAU. And I'll do my best to get back to you. I got my tweet deck open right here. So if you send an inquiry, it'll come right on through. All right, lots to get to today. We're going to be discussing a lot, including, of course, the events of the past weekend, lots of sports to get to. We also have campus events coming up this week, plenty of campus events to keep you occupied as we move into the fall season. We're also going to be having a lot of fun on the show this week. I think we're going to be eating some cookies later to determine which the best cookie is, so stay tuned. There's plenty of excitement to come, not only today, but for the rest of the week here on Compact Discourse. As always, we'll be having our regularly scheduled guests. We've got JP coming in on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have Dylan coming in on Thursday, and plenty of surprises throughout. Even I don't know what will end up happening. So stay tuned because it's always a good time here on Compact Discourse. All right, so let's jump right into things here. We'll start with, I guess, initial reactions to the football game on Saturday. We don't have to go too in-depth with it, but obviously that is the current elephant in the room. So, Davis, I know you alluded to it a little bit, but what's your overall general feeling about not only the game, but also the quarterback change and what that means for the future of the season?
First half, hot take here, first half was terrible, second half not as bad. Obviously, I'm sure everybody that has an avenue to say that has said that, so I'm not going to dwell too much on it. But, Bo Nix played pretty bad. I mean, he completed most of his passes, but when you just look at the numbers of it, it doesn't seem like he played that bad. But once you watch the game, you could just tell something wasn't right about him. He wasn't completing the passes he usually completes. It just seemed like something was off for him. And I think it was a good decision to put in TJ Finley. And I will admit, during the game, I was one of the people that said I wasn't totally against putting TJ Finley in, but I thought we should maybe leave Bo in. I'm more, I guess, a football traditionalist where you don't want to, or sports traditionalist where you don't want to hurt your players' confidence by taking them out mid-game. So I thought maybe we should just hope he can come back and win and put TJ Finley in next game. But I'm glad they put TJ Finley in during the third quarter, I think it was. And, I've heard a lot of rumblings from fans. I guess not rumblings. I've heard a lot of talk from fans that they want Bo to start in Baton Rouge in the Valley. But, we know that he's not good on the road traditionally, and he just played terrible at Auburn at home. So, I don't know. I'm interested in seeing if TJ Finley can start. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and you couldn't write it any better. The week before LSU, TJ Finley has to come in and kind of bail out the team. But I think as far as Bo Nix, we had never seen anything like that out of Bo. Maybe at his worst on the road against a top-ranked team, but at home against a Group of 5 school on homecoming, he was just not making the plays he needed to make, just looking lost. It makes me wonder if something was up with Bo, considering how just uncharacteristic he looked in the pocket.
Maybe 5 people brought him a pizza at midnight, like they did to Michael Jordan.
Although he didn't overcome it like Michael Jordan did, and we won't remember this game for good reasons like we do the MJ flu game.
Well, you might remember it if he comes out that he got food poisoning.
I guess, but I don't know.
Georgia State fans have conspired to poison Bo.
Now this,
That's not true.
now this I will say, on Friday night I was driving down South Donahue, and it appeared as though the fire alarm had been pulled at the South Donahue Residence Hall.
Maybe he didn't get enough sleep.
That's what I was thinking. In the back of my mind, it was there. In my mind, I obviously don't. I've done some pretty incredible things on no sleep, but I don't think that was the culprit. But I don't know.
Does he still live in North Donahue?
I don't know. No telling. But there's 22 players on a team.
It's true.
I'm sure one of them was a little. What is it? Tired-eyed. Yeah, tired-eyed, misty-eyed. All right, so we're going to have to head to a quick PSA break. When we come back, we're going to get to some news from around the country and around the world as we get you updated on your weekend headlines. We're also going to get talking about some sports, and we're going to continue our discussion about Auburn football. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 with Jack and Davis. We'll be right back in about 2 minutes after this PSA break.
I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on WEGL 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, WEGL FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with WEGL Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WEGLFM.com and WEGL 91.1 FM, Auburn.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll. We're coming at you live. It is 8:18 a.m. on September 27th, 2021. We are broadcasting live from the campus of Auburn University here in the WEGL studios, welcoming you into a lovely fall Monday morning outside. So let's jump right into your headlines. We've got plenty of headlines from over the weekend. Moulin Rouge, the musical, has won 10 Tony Awards over the weekend. How do you feel about that, Davis? You a scholar of the Broadway arts?
Not really. I'm not a big musical fan, personally. I don't have anything really against them. I'm just not.
I hear you like Coco.
I do really like Coco. That's my favorite Disney movie. I think it's the best, but I'm open to other arguments. Tangled's my other favorite Disney movie.
Do you think that would translate into a stage play well, Coco?
You know what? I think it maybe. You'd have to make some. Yeah, I think you could. You'd have to do some special things with it, but with the right writer, it'd be interesting to see. I'd watch that.
I've seen a lot of good movies adapted into stage plays, including Aladdin.
Have you seen The Lion King? Was that one good?
I've definitely seen The Lion King in a theater context, but I don't know if I'm old enough to have an opinion about it.
Fair. I always thought it was a little weird. I mean, like, Lion King's a weird one because they all have to dress up. They always have to wear those big masks and stuff.
But I think that's what makes it cool. It's like an engineering marvel, all the cool costumes. They like the guy on stilts as the giraffe.
Is it good, though? Like, you can put on costumes all day, but if it doesn't translate well...
Lion King's, like, based on a stage play. It's based on Hamlet, so I think...
It's just Hamlet with costumes, I guess.
Hamlet.
It can't be bad.
It's just Hamlet with fursuits. All right, continuing to move on to our other headlines. The Social Democrats have narrowly beat Angela Merkel's voter bloc in the German election. Germany's center-left Social Democrats won the biggest share of the vote in a national election on Sunday, narrowly beating out Chancellor Angela Merkel's center-right Union bloc in a closely fought race that will determine who succeeds the long-time leader at the helm of Europe's biggest economy. So Angela Merkel's chancellorship in a little bit of question as the coalition of votes she had was narrowly beat out in the German elections yesterday.
I have a question about Berlin. Was it her government or the new government that was buying up all the private-owned apartment complexes? Did you see that?
I'm looking.
Making them public for the people. I'm not sure if that's her. Has she officially stepped down yet?
Berlin voters back wrestling apartments away from landlords. Interesting. How about that? Well, it looks like people are in favor of it. It looks like that resolution or whatever vote went through based on all these headlines I'm seeing, Reuters, ABC, and Bloomberg.
They seized 200,000 homes from private real estate companies and transferred them into public ownership.
Interesting. All right, so moving on to our next headline, we have just a quick NFL recap. A lot of interesting things happened on Sunday. We had Justin Tucker setting a NFL record with a 66-yard field goal, and it wasn't even in Denver. It was in Detroit as he bounced it off the crossbar as time expired to give the Ravens a 19-17 win over the Lions. Lions continuing to find ways to lose games, and you know what? Eventually they'll run out of ways, but for now they're going to keep inventing new ways to beat the Lions. And in the late game last night, if you're able to watch that, Aaron Rodgers looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers, combining with Devontae Adams and Mason Crosby to put up a substantial number of points to take down the San Francisco 49ers in Levi's Stadium. So jumped out to a big lead, allowed the 49ers to come back, and then were able to seal the deal on a 51-yarder off the boot of Mason Crosby. So looks like vintage Packers are back after a lackluster performance in Week 1.
Vintage Packers play good all season and then fall apart in the playoffs and then do nothing in the offseason. So, yeah.
Nothing but
if they were here, he'd get really mad about that.
Nothing but complain.
But, yeah.
He'd get mad about that.
Aaron Rodgers is back. A little more disheveled looking now. But, yeah. I think it was a good game.
I would say so. All the primetime games this season have been good. Would you agree with that?
The most boring one so far was probably the Panthers one, I'm going to be honest.
I mean, primetime and Sunday and Monday.
Okay, then yeah. I can't really think of any ones that have been bad. I haven't been able to watch all of them, though.
I mean, as far I don't know how the quality of game, but in terms of score, they've been all.
Okay, fair.
Mm-hmm. All right, some other headlines. The United States of America has defeated Europe in the Ryder Cup with a resounding victory of 19-9, the largest margin of victory ever in the Ryder Cup, and it may be the end of an era for Europe as they had won 9 of the previous 12 Ryder Cups, and this is one of the youngest USA teams to ever compete in the Ryder Cup. So the future is bright for the United States. So hopefully in 2 years, the Ryder Cup will retain its position in the hands of the United States as Europe's string of dominance looks to be coming to a close in the Ryder Cup. Denny Hamlin gets his first NASCAR win at the Las Vegas Speedway yesterday, and that is about it for your sports wrap-up. And then your Today in Sports History, September 27th, 1998, Mark McGwire gives baseball a new magic number, hitting 2 homers to reach number 70 in the St. Louis Cardinals season finale. So that's when Mark McGwire set the record for most home runs in a single season.
Speaking of the Cardinals, they just hit 16 wins in a row.
So another record. I mean, that's all coming up. What was the Cardinals? You know, they always find a way to be clutch down the stretch. I mean, I'm thinking about 2011 when they had a 7 games back on the Braves in the final months. I mean, they found a way to come all the way back to take down the Braves to get that final wild card spot.
The Cardinals are hot. Apparently, it's the longest win streak since like the 50s or something, which is crazy. In the AL, they're in the AL, right?
No, they're in the National League.
Okay, in the NL, always get those two mixed up. Obviously, the other longest one, I guess in the AL then would be the Athletics in the early 2000s.
That's correct.
Getting 21?
At least 20.
Fair. We got to watch Moneyball again.
We do.
Moneyball episode of Through the Lens?
I'd be down for that. Sports movies?
That's going to happen eventually. Moneyball has to be on there. I've seen that quite a few times.
All right, so looking over at your National League wild card race, the St. Louis Cardinals have claimed the second spot from the Cincinnati Reds with an 87-69 record. They are not going to catch the Dodgers, who have won 100 games but are still sitting in a wild card spot, if you can believe that. But the Cincinnati Reds are just one game, or they're 6 games behind the Cardinals. So I don't know if it's going to be. I think the playoff picture's pretty much shaped itself up at this point, and rightfully so with four days left in the season. Cincinnati and Philadelphia, their wild card elimination number is 1, so they got to play perfect if they want to make it into the big dance in October. You've got San Francisco locking up the West Division, Milwaukee in the Central, and then Atlanta is going to have to do their darndest to not get caught by Philadelphia, but I think they're going to hold on to that Eastern Division crown for, I think, the 4th straight year. Atlanta's coming away with the victory in that one. But we will get to baseball later in the show. We just wanted to mention that historic win streak by the St. Louis Cardinals and, frame that against what happened 20 years ago when Mark McGwire set the single-season record for home runs.
Do people give Mark McGwire's home run record an asterisk by it?
I don't know if they do. Obviously, this source doesn't, considering it listed as,
Yet another very big player of that time has an asterisk by his.
But
all I'll say.
That's not single season.
It's all time, so it's more important.
Debatable.
A debate for another day.
I would say so.
In here, we'll hash it out with them.
I would agree. So, those are your big headlines for the weekend. Looks like Angela Merkel is on her way out in the government of Germany, currently sitting at Europe's largest economy. A little bit of exciting sports news between NASCAR, the Ryder Cup, and Sunday Night Football, and, of course, entertainment news with the Tony Awards going on last weekend. All right, we're going to head to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do weather, and we're going to jump right into some sports right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. You're listening to Compact Discourse with Jack and Davis right here, broadcasting live. It's the bottom of the hour, 8:28. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 2 minutes with some more Compact Discourse.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
So you're giving up? Just like that?
Giving up on what?
On getting an inheritance from a distant relative.
Don't you think if there were a billionaire in the family, we'd know about it by now?
Listen to me. We are one phone call away from riding horses on our own private polo grounds. One call from christening yachts, having a butler, using summer as a verb.
How do you figure?
Look, everyone's got a rich uncle somewhere. It's statistics. So the best thing you can do is just prepare for the inevitable.
Right, which is why I thought maybe it would be smart to take control of my finances. You know, start using a budget, get out of debt, set some retirement goals.
Budgets? Debt? You watch your mouth. Retirement shouldn't be a goal for us. It should be a way of life.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green.
Make it green. Green, green, green. Make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream.
Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll, 8:32 in the morning on September 27th, 2021. We're broadcasting live on the Big 91 here, live from Auburn University. It's Compact Discourse right here on 91.1 FM. That is, of course, WEGL, your home for student-run radio on the Plains since 1971. 50 years of WEGL. Let's jump right into your weather report on this crisp Monday morning. It started to feel like fall out there, folks. It is 66 degrees and sunny here on the Plains on the campus of Auburn University. This morning it's probably going to get up to 75 degrees, but no chance of rain. Clear skies. Don't even worry about that raincoat as we move into the afternoon. We're looking at a little bit of heat, 82 degrees, but no chance of rain will persist throughout the afternoon. This evening, we're looking at clear skies as well, maybe a stray cloud here or there, giving us a 7% chance of rain, and an overnight temp of 63 degrees. So that is going to be your daily weather report here from Auburn, Alabama. We're also looking at Hurricane Sam has developed in the Caribbean. It is moving from the southeast to the northwest around the Lesser Antilles Islands, I guess is what those would be called. I'm around Puerto Rico, so taking a look on that one. It is currently a Category 4, but it looks like it will be downgraded to a Category 3 out in the open ocean. So keeping an eye on that one, hoping it does not make landfall on the eastern coast of the United States. But we are taking a look at Hurricane Sam as it continues to move across the Atlantic Ocean, and we will keep you updated as that progresses. And that's going to do it for your weather report until 9:30. So stay tuned. We got a lot to get to here on Compact Discourse. Let's jump into college football as we talk about a lot of ranked teams going down over the weekend. Anything to say about that, Davis?
It's exciting. Auburn was almost one of them. We ever pulled out though.
I mean, yeah, we have next week, this upcoming week, circled on our calendars from all the exciting matchups we got. But I think it was kind of a look ahead weekend. A lot of people looking forward to that because a lot of teams with a ranking went down in an unexpected fashion. And what better way to talk about that than just to go ahead and jump right into your college football scoreboard for Week 4. Oklahoma State deals the first blow of the weekend. They knocked off number 25 Kansas State 31-20. UCLA gets a much-needed win against the Pac-12 rivals Stanford. They win 35-24 over the Cardinal. Auburn survives a scare against Georgia State. Bo Nix goes 13 of 27, and Auburn somehow manages to come away with a win in Jordan-Hare Stadium on homecoming. They win that one 34-24. Georgia Tech shocks the college football world in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They blow out the Tar Heels of North Carolina 45-22. Michigan State takes advantage of a hapless Nebraska team. They win that one in overtime 23-20. Number 19 Michigan gets a scare from Rutgers, but they're able to pull out the win 20-13. Michigan remains undefeated and remains number 19 in the country. Coastal Carolina handles UMass 53-3. BYU gets a little scare from South Florida. They only win that one by 8, 35-27. Baylor knocks off number 14 Iowa State 31-29 as Brock Purdy goes 22 of 33 for 263 yards. In the game day game, Notre Dame runs all over Wisconsin, scoring 31 points in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame and the Irish come out on top of that one. 41 of 13. Wisconsin's quarterback goes 18 of 41. Not much you can do with that stat line. Florida down early but comes away with a win in the Swamp, 38-14 over the Vols of Tennessee. Ohio State blows out Akron 59-7. NC State double overtime champions over Clemson. They win that one 27-21 in Carter Finley Stadium, and Clemson goes down. Arkansas gets their first win over Texas A&M since joining the SEC. They double up the Aggies 20-10. Down goes number 7 in the land. Number 6 Penn State handles FCS Villanova 38-17. Iowa gets a scare from Colorado State but wins by 10. Low-scoring game in the Big 12. Oklahoma 16, West Virginia 13. Oregon takes care of business against Arizona 41-19. Georgia runs Vanderbilt out of Nashville 62-0. Alabama does the same to Southern Miss 63-14. And in that Friday night game, it was Fresno State, number 22. They win 38-30 in a Mountain West contest over the Runnin' Rebels of UNLV. All right, shocking games out of that top 25, Davis. I think the one that jumps out to me is, we know West Virginia holding their own with Oklahoma. And, when's the last time you saw 29 combined points in a Big 12 game?
It's the Big 12, so a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe it was someone beating Kansas 29-0.
If Alex were here, he'd probably name the day and the hour, but it's the Big 12. You know they love to score.
Yeah, especially with Oklahoma at the helm. But Oklahoma will remain 4-0 and perfect for now. Oklahoma does look very vulnerable, as does Clemson, but Clemson did find their way into the loss column this weekend.
I think the shared issue with those two teams, one's more obvious than the other to me, is that their quarterback just isn't. I don't think Spencer Rattler's good, and I think everybody's kind of come to see that DJ Ucla, did I pronounce that right?
I think that's what we're going with here.
Is not that good. I don't think he's thrown like 1 touchdown in 3 games. And Spencer Rattler, he seems to have all the tools, but maybe he just has Jeremy Johnson. Maybe not. Okay, that's a little extreme. I just don't think he's really the answer for Oklahoma. He just doesn't really seem to have
the killer instinct that the previous Oklahoma Heisman winners have had.
Yeah, he's no Jalen Hurts, no Baker Mayfield, he's no Kyler Murray. He's just kind of there. I feel like he's kind of like a bridge quarterback until they can get a better one. But they think he's good. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. I'm very open to it, but I don't think he's yet to do it. He keeps all these games that should not be close. Maybe you can put that on Oklahoma's defense as well, but I feel like he has some blame in that.
Yeah, this Oklahoma defense looks serviceable enough, holding a high-octane West Virginia team to just 13.
It's fair. It's true.
Spencer Rattler, final stat line in that one, he was 26 of 36 for 256 yards and just a single tutty. And I think that might be the only touchdown Oklahoma scored in the entire game. They scored 6 points in the fourth, but I don't know if that was a failed 2-point or not. But low offense is not something we're used to seeing from a Lincoln Riley Oklahoma team.
I'm sure it's getting frustrating for those Sooners fans.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just thinking back to when they're not, I wouldn't say they're bad now, but when they were good. But the biggest thing this weekend, I alluded to it, was that Clemson was taken down by NC State, the Wolfpack. It's like their first top 25 win since 2012.
It's their first top 10 win since 2012, yeah.
That was a crazy one. I'm surprised Clemson lost to NC State. That's really odd.
Well, if you'll remember back in the previous era of college football, in the early playoff era, NC State was an absolute graveyard for Florida State.
That's true.
And now that Clemson has the crown in the ACC, it seems that Carter Finley Stadium is kind of like the Kinnick Stadium of the ACC. It's a look-ahead game, and NC State is just a scrappy team that is just good enough to take care of business, it seems, in the ACC. Devin Leary, quarterback for NC State, he finishes 32 of 44, 238 yards, and 4 touchdowns. A bit misleading considering 2 of those were in overtime, but that Clemson-NC State game did go into regulation, tied 14-14, with a missed field goal being the decider to send it to overtime. NC State scores 13 in overtime to Clemson's 7, and the Wolfpack storm the field and get their first big program win in quite some time. So, looks like Clemson is going to have to battle mightily. They have a Herculean path ahead of them if they would like to even have a sniff at the college football playoff, already being handed 2 losses in the 4 weeks' time.
Do you think they're going to be falling out of the top 25 anytime this season?
I think they'll be lingering around the 22-24 era. You know,
Yeah,
I think we'll take a look at the new AP Top 25 in the next segment. But for now, I do think that Clemson. I don't see them. I mean, I talked earlier on the show last week about how easy their schedule was, but based on how bad they've been playing, I have some more questions about that one, including a game against Boston College, which it looks a little scarier now after they put up a really good fight against an SEC team this weekend against Missouri.
I like to read a book about some of those teams that will get you, like that you don't expect to. Appalachian State's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I personally feel like you just don't expect them to do it, and then they keep it close with a top 10 team or even win sometimes. I read a book about that. There probably is one somewhere.
All right, Notre Dame 4-0, number 12 in the land, and they ran all over Wisconsin. What does this say about Wisconsin? What does this say about Penn State? What does this say about the Big Ten as Notre Dame takes Wisconsin to the woodshed in Soldier Field? Is Notre Dame good or is Wisconsin bad? Because Notre Dame struggled against an 0-4 Florida State team.
Well, Notre Dame, I feel like maybe it's a mix of both. Notre Dame's never really bad. They just either have issues, but they're never really that good either in my eyes.
They're never elite.
Yeah. They're always good. Like, you don't want to phone in a game against them, but like they're not winning the championship anytime soon to me.
Well, I will tell you that 1:30 p.m. this Saturday on NBC, the now number 9 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish will be taking on the number 7 Cincinnati Bearcats. So I don't know if anyone predicted a top 10 potentially game day matchup between the Irish and Cincinnati, although it probably won't be game day considering they just did Notre Dame. But that is something I do want to bring up. It segues me into another team, which is Arkansas Razorbacks taking down the Texas A&M Aggies in Jerry World for the first time ever.
Arkansas looking really good this season.
Arkansas's looking great. They scare me mightily. And I will be rooting for them this weekend as they take on the Georgia Bulldogs in what will probably be game day, as it is a top 10 SEC matchup that game day just loves to sink their teeth into.
Let's go Razorbacks.
I will be rooting for the Hogs for this week and this week alone, and maybe even on the 20th of November as well. But we'll be looking to see that, and hopefully game day will be selected to be Athens, Georgia this upcoming weekend, and the Hogs will be able to pull off a big upset. And if that happens, I think Arkansas, sky's the limit. Because they've been not good for a long time, and just to get shut out of a cannon like this, taking down a team they've never beaten before in the SEC, and now a chance to knock off the number 2 team in the land, I bet the hype is high in Fayetteville this season.
I can't wait to go there as an Auburn fan.
Yeah,
Probably get disappointed.
In the one game we won't win in Fayetteville in the past 5 years. Picked a great year to make that trip. All right, we're going to head to a quick PSA break, and when we come back, we got some more college football chat to get to, including the new AP Top 25 and immediate reactions to that. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Compact Discourse on WEGL 91.1 FM.
unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll. We're broadcasting live from the Bradley Basin studios here on the campus of Auburn University. We thank you to all of you who are out there in Radio Land joining us in the booth today. WeGoFM.com. You can listen 24 hours a day to Auburn's #1 student-run radio station for 50 years now. You can also tune in on WEGL 91.1 FM, as the name implies. You can also go over to our YouTube page. Just look for WEGL 91.1 on YouTube. Look for that orange and blue eagle and watch any episode of Compact Discourse you like. Completely PSA break free. They're not. But you know what is PSA break free? The podcast. You can listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. I just go to Spotify, search for Compact Discourse, look for that orange and blue CD logo, and you can listen to any old episode of Compact Discourse absolutely PSA break free, and a little editorialized sometimes when people get off color. I'm just kidding. All right. We're going to move on to the AP poll in college football, and we'll discuss each and every team as we move on, including some far drops and some interesting new additions. And we'll get to two of those right as we go to number 25, the Clemson Tigers. The road does not get any easier for Clemson as they will be hosting Boston College in their next game. But Clemson sitting at 2-2. They are now number 25, teetering on the brink of unrankedness.
I guess I answered my question from earlier. Do you think it's time to start their backup if we agree that DJ Ukulele is a problem? I just found out that the backup's name is probably harder to pronounce than DJ's name.
Who is it? Go ahead.
Taisun, T-A-I-S-U-N, Fomancha? No. P-H-O-M-M-A-C-H-A-N-H.
Fomanch.
You think?
It has to be simple.
It's not a C-H, it's an N-H.
Foman.
That sounds right.
They also have Lynn J. Where?
P-H-O-M-M-A-C-H-A-N-H.
I'll look into it.
Okay. You were saying?
So it looks like there's they have offensive line issues as well. They have a lot of issues on offense. Dabo Swinney after the game against NC State, so they're just going to have to reevaluate everything on offense, but he's going to stick with DJ under center. So that's the story out of Clemson, South Carolina. Moving on, we've also got the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, 4-0. They have crashed into the poll. They have won at unranked Virginia, and they have a 65% chance to win at each of their next 4 games, according to ESPN's FPI. They do have a November 6th date with the Tar Heels of North Carolina, but for now, the Deeks are undefeated and looking to shake up the AFC playoff picture. ACC playoff picture. Come on.
I'm a big Wake Forest fan, more in basketball, but I'm glad to see they're thriving in football as well.
Their mascot's cool. It looks like green Abraham Lincoln.
Is that the one where he has the top hat on?
He has the top hat. He comes out on the motorcycle.
What?
Yeah, check that out. As we move on to the next team, congratulations to the Deeks for making an appearance in the poll. The NC State Wolfpack, after toppling Clemson, they are the highest-ranked ACC team in the poll. Not to provide any spoilers, but I think it is worth mentioning regarding the NC State team that the ACC, how far they have fallen, literally from 9 to 25 in the poll, but also just on average, we got 0-4 Florida State, and now we got 2-2 Clemson. It's not looking good for the ACC. Are they the new Pac-12? We shall see. Time will tell. But number 23 overall, we got the NC State Wolfpack sitting at 3-1, previously unranked. Yeah. Number 22, we have your Auburn Tigers. How about that? How about a little... Tigers. Tigers. Sitting at number 22 in the AP poll. They survived. Innocent until proven guilty is the law of the land here in the AP poll, and they have not lost yet, only to a top-ranked Penn State team. So we shall see what the future holds for the Auburn Tigers. They're, of course, heading to Death Valley to try and get their first win against Baton Rouge, in Baton Rouge, against, I'm losing it today. They are trying to get their first win against the Tigers of LSU, those Bayou Bengals from Baton Rouge since 1999, and Tommy Tuberville. We'll see if Brian Harsin in year 1 can get that done, potentially with TJ Finley transfer from, of course, the Bayou Bengals. We shall see how that develops as the starter perhaps gets named later in the week. What do you feel about TJ Finley and his I know you said something about a read option on Saturday.
Well, yeah. So the thing is basically when I said when he first started, he didn't start out hot. I'm going to be honest, he did not start out amazing. And the biggest read I had during it, I was like, the biggest difference between Bo and TJ to me is one that TJ's bigger. That's obvious. Kind of bulky. He's 6'7", which I didn't know. He's gigantic. But he'll actually run it with the read option. Bo just has a tendency to hand it off. Even when he has an open lane, he'll just hand it off every time and even fake like he's going to run. But TJ will actually run it. And I also will add an addendum to that.
How polysyllabic of you.
TJ has an X factor that I haven't seen Bo have since that Oregon game a while ago, personally.
How interesting. All right. Rolling right along to the other fifth of the AP poll, we have the Baylor Bears have crashed the party as well. They are 4-0. Shout out to Mr. Henry Roden. Hope you're listening today out there in Waco, Texas. The 4-0 Bears are a surprise of the season. They knocked off number 14 Iowa State. Is Baylor back in the Big 12? They are sitting pretty at 4-0. Gary Bohannon, or Jerry maybe, it starts with a G, has been ultra efficient for the Bears, completing 73% of his passes with 7 touchdowns and no interceptions. Wow. Baylor has Oklahoma State coming up. The Bears taking on the Cowboys will be a battle of 4-0 teams. How about that?
Quick uniform factor. Thoughts on the Baylor uniforms?
Did they wear the banana uniforms?
I think so, but I like their green ones usually.
I like their rebrand when they went from RG3 gold to banana yellow. I like when teams stop pretending their colors are gold and just go with yellow. Do you know about this phenomenon?
Yes. I think the biggest one, I think I heard you talking about the other day, is the 49ers, which I don't mind.
Well, the 49ers have never owned up to being banana yellow because they're not really. But I'm thinking of some examples like LSU. They say love purple, live gold. Love purple, live yellow. Yeah, we're on to you.
I'll be honest, I like the RG3 uniforms.
I like those too. They're iconic, but they look so dated. Like the old gold is not a look that is held up. Like it looks okay on like Vandy and Navy because they have like the military aesthetic, I guess. But the old gold isn't doing it for me anymore. It looks like it belongs on a standard definition television, if that makes sense.
Interesting. I do like old stuff though. Like I like vintage uniforms.
I do too, but I think if they want to wear old gold for homecoming, that's great. Do that. But I like the banana yellow that they're going with. It just looks so cool. It's like inverse Oregon, Yes. They got like a nice green, a nice yellow. It's good. All right. One more team to talk about on the AP poll before we hit the 9 o'clock break, and that is the UCLA Bruins, another Bear team, the best team in the Pac-12 South to this point. UCLA has an important test on Saturday. Oh, excuse me. I'm making it. I'm like Bradley Whitford over here. They have an important test on Arizona on Saturday against Arizona State at the Rose Bowl. So that'll be big in determining who will come out victorious in the Pac-12 South. That is kind of a meat grinder between UCLA, Arizona State, maybe even Utah and USC. So we shall see who will be taking on Oregon come December in the Pac-12. UCLA is going to get a regular season matchup with Oregon on the 23rd. So interesting developments out west as the Pac-12 tries to cobble together a playoff spot. Will it be UCLA? Will it be Oregon? Only time will tell.
I think it'll probably be Oregon.
I think Oregon has like a 50-50 shot of making the playoffs. If anybody from the Pac-12 goes to the playoff, it's obviously Oregon. But I don't trust Oregon not to drop one to like Utah.
Fair. Chip Kelly's still the coach of the Bruins, right?
That's correct.
Okay, good. If he was allowed to trade, he'd be trading all his players right now.
Wow, DeMarco Murray moment.
Don't forget about it. He traded for what's his name? The quarterback for no reason.
You know what?
What is his name? I used to like him.
Sam Bradford?
Yeah.
Sam Bradford. Speaking of Sam Bradford, we're going to get to Oklahoma and a lot more coming up on the other side of this 9 o'clock break. Don't go anywhere. We still got 19 more teams to get to on the AP poll. We've got some pennant chases to talk about. We've got a big Phillies versus Braves series cooking up in Atlanta this week, and we also got some cookies to eat. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll. We'll be back in about 5 minutes for the second half of the show. You're listening to WEGL 91.1 FM, 50 years old, the big 91. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 5 minutes.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
It's the top of the hour, about 9 a.m., and you're still listening to WEGL 91.1 FM. Well, you made it this far. Go get yourself a cup of coffee. You've earned it.
I really need a cup of joe, and if I don't get one, I think I might blow a gasket, and it's not a pretty sight.
We'll be right back in a few minutes with the second half of the show. Thank you so much for listening to Compact Discourse.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA. It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard. So you don't need to mooch off your friends.
You gonna finish that grape?
You mean the one in my mouth? You don't need to stop buying the necessities.
What you're smelling is a natural musk.
Ew.
You don't need to be a medical test subject.
How do you feel?
Mostly okay. Sometimes, though.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman. Let's break for lunch.
You just need an internet connection. Don't get left behind. Start your personal savings plan with the tips and tools on feedthepig.org. That way, you don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
All right, deal. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll, as always, and we got the illustrious Dylan Basin joining us in the booth for the second hour of the show. We're jumping right in. If you missed anything we talked about in the first hour, including some college football, some news from the weekend, and a whole lot more, including your weather report as we are enjoying this fall weather. Currently 67 degrees and sunny outside on the campus of Auburn University. We welcome you into the show. However you may be joining us today, you can listen to the first half of the show on our podcast. Just search for Compact Discourse wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify is my podcast player of choice, but whoever you want to get it, just search for it. Well, you'll find it. It's Psa Break free as well, I might add. All right, Davis, Dylan, how are we feeling? We excited to get on with the second hour of the show. Lots to be excited about this week, and I want to hear about it.
Super excited for some college football talk.
That's my guy. That's why you're in here. Davis?
I'm having trouble seeing right now, but I'm ready for it.
Dylan, do we have an Auburn Stages this week?
We do, yes.
Tell me more.
We have Sonic Nation, Auburn University show band, playing on the Upper Quad lawn, 6 o'clock this Thursday night.
How about that? All right, so you don't want to miss that. Continue to follow WEGL on Instagram for more updates about that one. But Auburn Stages is probably the coolest live event on campus, so you won't want to miss it. It's completely free. Just roll up and check it out. We got some awesome live music. We got some awesome lights as well, is what makes Auburn Stages so cool. And then, of course, the amazing talent that Dylan somehow manages to wrangle up week after week after week. So, of course, WEGL_AU on Instagram. You can also follow us on Twitter and TikTok, same at WEGL_AU, to get all the information you need about Auburn Stages and every other event that the station is putting on. Okay, you can also follow this show on Twitter at CDiscAU. That's at CDISCAU. Tweet at us, get your opinion on the show, or, just send us some love. I know Harrison over at TNT in the Morning loves sending us some love, so if you want to follow suit, you can go ahead and do that as well. All right, let's jump right back into our discussion. If you have anything you want to say about the new AP poll rankings, including Clemson dropping from number 6 all the way to number 25 after a loss to NC State, you can go ahead and call in at 334-844-9345, and we'd love to field your opinion. All right, we just talked about number 20 UCLA, so let's head on over to number 19, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, as the Big 12 appears to be completely wide open, and Oklahoma looks incredibly vulnerable. Let's see if their rival from across the state in Stillwater can take the crown. Oklahoma State is 4-0. They have a October 9th date with Texas and Iowa State the next weekend, so pretty difficult places to play if you're Oklahoma State. And you've also got Baylor coming up this next weekend. Oklahoma State, I believe, has won their previous 3 games by just 1 score, including a controversial win over Boise State. So you can put as much stock into that 4-0 record as you would like. But the matter remains that the Oklahoma State Cowboys are undefeated and sitting at number 19. Davis?
I don't really have too much to say about them. I don't know a lot about the Cowboys. I feel like Oklahoma State go Bear Sanders.
Okay. Good call. Moving on, we got the Fresno State Bulldogs. They are 4-1. They had that 1 loss to Oregon, but they have that 1 win over UCLA. So Fresno State sitting at number 18 ahead of UCLA. They beat UNLV 38-30. However, that was a pretty hapless running Rebels team that they were able to take down. So we shall see if Fresno State drops another game. They face Hawaii on the road next week, so always difficult traveling into 2 time zones over to play your game. And then they will take on an undefeated Wyoming squad later in the season.
It's fun to see Fresno State getting some love.
Yeah, not since the Carr brothers have we seen a Fresno State team of this talent level.
Interesting. Who's their quarterback right now?
Right now, this I do not know. However, I can look.
That's fair.
That's what's great about computers.
I think they're going to have a blast this week, though. Trip to Hawaii.
I mean,
it's a hard trip to make. It's fun to go to Hawaii, but you're only there for like 2 days.
One day you beat Hawaii. The next day, you just chill in Hawaii.
All right, we got Jake Haener. 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 He has 15 touchdowns and has thrown for 1,800 yards.
How many interceptions?
He has a 74 QBR. Okay. So that is my answer to your question.
Okay.
I'm pulling up the team stats. Haener has 2 interceptions, 15-2.
Wow, that's good. He's playing good.
Playing great.
Fresno State has a way of getting their hand on some decent quarterbacks every now and then.
It's that pipeline, It's that Napa Valley pipeline. Just sends them right over. All right. Moving on to the Big Ten, we got Michigan State. They are 4-0 after beating Nebraska in overtime. Michigan State only had 14 yards of offense in the second half, though. So take that how you will. They are playing against Western Kentucky and Rutgers in the next 2 weeks, so there's a very good chance we could see this Michigan State team go 6-0 before the day is done. They were number 20 last week. They're sitting at number 17 now. They got the battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy coming up on October 30th against Big Blue of Michigan, who struggled against Rutgers last week.
Every time I think of Michigan State, I think of that block punt that they beat Michigan with.
On the last play at a game.
And that clip of Draymond Green playing football where he looks really goofy.
What about the clip of Draymond Green coming out for pregame in the Spartan suit?
I haven't seen that one.
You got to check that out. All right, and while Davis checks that out, we'll move on to The number 16 team in the land, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. They are 4-0. Once again, they blew out UMass Amherst 53-3. And they have Terry Bowden's UL Monroe team coming up this weekend. They'll head to Arkansas State on the 7th and then App State on the 20th. The Mountaineers have been their only equal this season, and the Sun Belt Championship will probably run through Boone as the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers will be taking on the App State Neers on October 20th. So we shall see what the Sun Belt does as they vie for the best team in the group of 5.
I'm so happy that some Chanticleer love's being shown. Chanticleer's a rooster.
It sure is. It's from
the bench a few years ago.
Did you not just look at their logo?
Hey, yeah, I mean we did, but then we looked into it. Like, what's a Chanticleer? A Chanticleer.
It's like a fancy lighting arrangement you hang over your dining room table.
Oh, good one. You know, there's some unconventional teams in the top 25 this year so far.
It's been fun. You know, I think Chris Tobias called his shot week 1 that said a lot of good teams were going to be bad and a lot of bad teams are going to be good.
Awesome.
Or historically. All right, moving on to a team that dropped. We have the Texas A&M Aggies dropped from number 7 to number 15 after that loss to the Arkansas Razorbacks. The offense is struggling. The offense struggling has kind of been the theme for a lot of top 10 teams preseason. Just ran into a brick wall when it came for their offense to perform. You got Clemson, you got Oklahoma, you got A&M, who only put up 10 points against Colorado, who stinks. And you had the same problems on Saturday. I think Arkansas may have jumped out to a 17-3 lead against the Aggies on Saturday. So A&M's got to get their offense in shape if they want to have any kind of sniff at the SEC West.
The Monstars came by and took everybody's mojo while they weren't looking.
Interesting.
Michael Jordan's going to have to come out and dunk from half court.
Do you think those 5 guys that delivered the pizza were the aliens?
Talking about burgers and fries?
No, we're talking about Space Jam and the Michael Jordan flu game. If you can hang on to me and Davis's foreign language we speak to each other.
So with the five guys delivering the pizza, I've also read something that like the guy who owned the pizza place, he was like, I'm not letting anybody touch this pizza. And he delivered it himself, he claims. But I've also heard quite a few stories about the 5 guys showing up randomly and delivering it. So who knows? I'll look into it.
We'll get our best investigative journalists on the case. All right, number 14, you got the Michigan Wolverines. They moved up from number 19. They're another team struggling with offense. Cade McNamara, he had only 9 completions against Rutgers, and 8 of those came in the first half. 4 straight possessions in the second half without a first down, and they let Rutgers right back into that game before the defense kind of bailed them out. The schedule is going to get harder for the Michigan Wolverines, so we'll see if this is a classic Michigan blowing it season. But for right now, they're sitting at 4-0, looking to make some noise in the Big Ten. Moving on, we got BYU. They are 4-0 as well. They are going to look to take on Utah State, the Aggies of Utah State, against BYU this weekend. They don't look very good, actually, as they got beat 27-3 from Boise State last week. So a 5-0 Cougars team will probably see their way into the top 10 and maybe even playoff and New Year's Six conversations, as it's going to be hard to keep a undefeated BYU team out of the playoff, especially from their performance last year. All right, number 12, we got the Ole Miss Rebels. They are 3-0, so a lot of good teams in the SEC West this year, unfortunately for our Auburn Tigers. But the Rebels did have their bye week, and they are coming up against Alabama this weekend. But the FPI still only gives them a 20% chance of win. Heisman by default, Matt Corral. He looks like just about the only quarterback who hasn't absolutely fallen off the track so far this season. Alabama's defense did not look spectacular against Florida. So we'll see if this Ole Miss high-octane offense can do a little running against Alabama. But it's going to be a near-perfect performance to take down Alabama this weekend for Ole Miss. So undefeated, but maybe not for long, are the Ole Miss Rebels.
I would love for Ole Miss to replicate, what year was that, 2015?
It's 2015 and 2014.
I would love for that to happen again. Tony the Land Shark showing up in Tuscaloosa and beating up Big Al.
I mean, you got Ole Miss, you got Arkansas, you got Alabama. I mean, is the winner of the SEC West going to have a loss this season? I mean, it's looking like it. It looks like an absolute meat grinder right now in the SEC West, considering how competitive and close these teams are playing. All right.
A quarter of, or a fifth of the top 25 is SEC West. It's kind of insane.
That is an immaculate stat. Thank you, Dylan. All right, we're going to head to a quick PSA break, and when we come back, we got a lot more to get to, including the other 11 teams in the AP Top 25, as well as some MLB postseason implication matchups in Atlanta. And we're going to eat some cookies to end off the show. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Compact Discourse right here on the Big 91. I'm Jack Hard, joined alongside Dylan and Davis. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 2 minutes.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Gain practical experience with emerging technology and equipment not found in the civilian world. The Army National Guard can get you started in an array of STEM-related career fields such as information technology, communication systems, Special Forces engineers, technical engineering, air traffic control, and chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear science. Get a head start on your career in an exciting new field while earning money to pay for college, all while serving in your own community. Log on to NationalGuard.com or talk to a recruiter in your area to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities available to you in the Army National Guard. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Want to help pull the plug on cyber terrorists? Or get the skills to work with satellites and other space technology? How about learning the avionics inside stealth fighters? And do you want to reach your goals fast? You can do it and take your life to the next level in the Air National Guard. Because you serve part-time, you do it in a way that works for you. You can achieve your career and educational goals with plenty of time for family and friends. The Air Guard offers nearly 200 career specialties, so you'll get the high-tech skills you need to kick your career into high gear. You can also be eligible for college tuition assistance. The best part is, in the Air Guard, you'll be making a real difference by serving your community and country. So get your future off the ground in the Air National Guard. Call the Alabama Air National Guard at 1-800-TOGO-ANG or visit goang.com/AL.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM, WEGLFM.com, or if you're listening or watching on our YouTube live stream, you can do that too. That's WEGL 91.1 on YouTube. You can also listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcast. Absolutely PSA break free. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll and Dylan Baisden. We're talking college football as the new AP poll came out yesterday, and lots of shakeups as some big winners and some big losers over the weekend. So we're going to roll right along with that. And moving on to the number 11 team in the land, the Ohio State Buckeyes are 3-1. C.J. Stroud is looking to return to the starting lineup after nursing a shoulder injury, and the potential backup Kyle McCord could be continuing to play. He played pretty well against Akron, but we personally know how easy it is to play well against Akron. So Maryland and Rutgers are going to be up next on the schedule, which looks pretty easy, but Rutgers looked pretty good, Maryland looked pretty good, and then you got Indiana and Penn State coming up. So no days off for the Buckeyes. We'll see if they can survive the Big Ten schedule and maintain their playoff hopes as they're sitting with one loss already.
Go Buckeyes?
I mean, no.
Go away, Buckeyes?
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. Trademark that. Oh, I have to pay him now. Trademark that definite article. No. All right, you got the Florida Gators sitting at number 10, moving into the top 10 now. Dan Mullen said he is settling in, learning how to call a game with Emory Jones at quarterback, and they had a pretty dominant win against Tennessee. They're They're playing undefeated Kentucky next. If you'll remember, a few years ago, Florida had a pretty gnarly win streak against Kentucky before it was broken in 2018. I believe it was 27 straight. So we'll see if Florida can start a new win streak coming up against the Wildcats this weekend. Florida looked pretty good against Alabama, so we'll see if they have the chops to take on the SEC East. They just got to take care of business against Kentucky, and we'll see, and we'll all look forward to that Georgia game in Jacksonville, as the SEC East usually runs through that. Number 9, we got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They're 4-0 after blowing out Wisconsin and Chicago over the weekend. Notre Dame still has plenty of challenges coming up. They got that big game against Cincinnati coming up. They are on their defensive coordinator is Marcus Freeman, who spent the past 4 years as the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati. So it's going to be big. They got 3 home games in October: Cincinnati, USC, and North Carolina. Got to take care of business in all of those. USC and North Carolina both looking like pretty weak opponents after this weekend, but we'll see how good Cincinnati really is.
The Bearcats will be forever burned into my mind from that jump pass they made to Travis Kelce in like 2012 or something. Legendary play.
Against Syracuse?
Probably. I just remember the Travis Kelce catching it and scoring for like the win. Good times.
All right, well, moving on to number 8 in the country. Moving up from number 16 is the Arkansas Razorbacks. They had a tough win against the number 7 Texas A&M Aggies, snapping that 11-game winning streak they had against Arkansas. Oh, sorry, the 9-game winning streak. Arkansas A&M was on an 11-game winning streak at the time. Number 2 Georgia coming up on the schedule for the Razorbacks. They had a good preview against a Georgia-style offense against the Aggies, and a strong run game with the best defensive line in the SEC. That is the Arkansas Razorbacks, and they are looking to play to their strengths. Sam Pittman is a former Kirby Smart assistant, so he knows all about what the Bulldogs have to offer. Will the Cinderella season for Arkansas continue in Athens on Saturday? We shall see.
So he's like Nick Saban's grandson.
Effectively, yeah. He's 2 degrees of separation away from Nick Saban. Now, Nick Saban's never been beaten by one of his coordinators, but has he ever been beaten by one of his coordinators? Is the real question.
We can only hope. Maybe that's in the future.
I think that might be the kryptonite. We just haven't gotten to that point. Nick Saban's getting so old that his coordinators are now coaching.
He's going to end up playing like his coordinator's grandson soon or something. They're going to beat him.
It's kind of like that hereditary stuff where it like skips a generation. Yeah. The second generation is going to they're going to smack down Nick Saban. Watch.
All right, we might be onto something here. The ESPN Power Football Index gives number 7 Cincinnati a 47% chance to win at Notre Dame on Saturday. The Bearcats aren't Bearcats, not Gates. They are coming off a bye week, so they've had plenty of time to prepare. If Cincinnati goes undefeated and wins the American Conference, it would have a 70% chance to reach the playoff. How about that?
Whoa.
If they lose, 9% chance.
Well, they better not lose. Hot take from me.
All right, so we're going to head on over to the Big 12 once again, and the Oklahoma Sooners are 4-0 after a lackluster performance against West Virginia. They hit a game-winning field goal, so they just scored 1 touchdown against the Nears at home. So we'll see about that. They got Kansas State this Saturday, and then the Red River Showdown against Texas on October 9th. So they are the presumptive heir to the Big 12 in the college football playoff. The seat is waiting for them if they can just make it there. We'll see if they have the chops to earn their 40-point loss in the playoffs this year.
That's Oklahoma for you.
Moving on, we got Iowa. They are 4-0, number 5 in the land. They have they survived a bit of a scare against Colorado State. I believe they were down at some point. They are facing an unbeaten Maryland team in Maryland in Week 5. And then they come home to take on Penn State, which, if things hold as they are right now, will be a top 10 matchup. They had a pretty shoddy run game against Colorado State. Tyler Goodson had 57 yards on 18 carries. The offense really needs to step up if they want to contend for that Big Ten West. Speaking of the Big Ten, we got Penn State sitting at 4-0. They're number 4 now, moving up 2 spots, leapfrogging Clemson. And then you got Sean Clifford, who's spreading the ball around to the playmakers. You know, we know about Penn State as Auburn fans, so we're going to wish them the best of luck throughout the rest of the season. We'll see how many Big Ten wins they can get and before they run into those marquee matchups against Ohio State and Michigan later on in the season. You got Oregon at number 3, still far and away favorite for the Pac-12. They got Stanford and Cal coming up in the next 2 weeks, so it should be pretty easy wins. Then they got a interesting trip to the Rose Bowl on the 23rd to take on UCLA. They are the heir apparent to the Pac-12 in the playoff. Kayvon Thibodeau did have to make an exit against Arizona, so they need a big win after underperforming against Arizona this past weekend. And then number 2 and number 1, of course, you got Georgia and Alabama, both sitting at 4-0. They both have big games this weekend. Georgia taking on Arkansas, and Alabama hosting the Runnin' Rebels of Ole Miss. Last year, the Rebels gave Alabama their biggest kind of challenge as they hung 48 points on them, which is pretty hard to do against a Bama defense. But unfortunately for the Rebels, the Tide threw 63 right back in their direction and came away with a win in that one on their way to a national title. So we'll see about that. Georgia, they have plenty of offensive woes to work out when you're not playing a team like Vanderbilt, I think. So we shall see if the line holds up for the Hogs and whether or not the Dogs of the Hogs come out on top in Athens on Saturday. So pretty interesting matchups for these two teams that are the presumptive favorites to meet up in Atlanta on December. We'll see if either one of them falters on Saturday as they both look to preserve their 4-0 records.
They also both have to contend with Auburn, which I think is going to be very tough.
That's a fair point you bring up, Dylan.
We're full of rage, and we love to ruin seasons.
Yeah, we love to try to ruin seasons, but how often do we really? Last time we did it was, what, 2019?
2019, we ruined Bama's season. Although
it's only 2 years ago.
Yeah. In 2017, we ruined Bama's season so hard that they won the national championship.
Yeah, so we like to talk a big game, and I love when Auburn wins, but how much effect do we really have?
In 2017, we ruined Georgia's season when they went to the college football playoff.
So,
you know, it's fun. We have a good time.
We do have a good time. I love beating Bama and Georgia.
We're going to do both this year.
Called a shot.
Okay.
I respect it. Okay. Any final big takeaways before we move away from college football this season? On this day, college football history, we do have the Tim Tebow speech after the loss to Ole Miss about how he promises to work hard. If you'll remember that from back in the day.
The one where he cried?
Well, you're going to have to be more specific, Davis.
That's fair.
The one after the loss to Ole Miss when he promised to work hard.
I was thinking of it. Was I thinking of the one where he's like, we're going to go undefeated, and then they lost? Maybe at the press conference?
After the press conference, yeah, after the game against Ole Miss.
Yeah,
He's wearing a black T-shirt. Pretty iconic.
The T-shirt's not going to help me there.
It was in 2008.
Good old Tim Tebow. I didn't watch football then, so.
Understandable.
I can't say I've seen it. If Alex were here, he'd tell you what he was doing when it happened.
So yeah, the Florida Gators did go on to win the SEC championship that season. So I guess Tebow's speech did make at least a little bit of a difference. All right, so that is going to do it for college football for today. When we come back, we've got some baseball to talk about as the Phillies and the Braves will be playing this week, and huge implications. This is what it's all about. This is the playoffs before the playoffs, if you will, as the Braves clinging to their playoff spot, hoping not to get knocked off by the Fightin' Phils from Philadelphia. We'll also talk about the rest of the playoff picture, what to expect in the first round of the playoffs, and more as the 100-win Dodgers are stuck in a wild card spot. Believe it or not, we will tell you the story on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you on the other side of this 2-minute break. I got Dylan. I got Davis. I'm Jack Hart. You're listening to WEGL, the Big 91, here in Auburn.
Hi, I'm Harrison Carson Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on WEGL 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, WEGL FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with WEGL Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WEGLFM.com and WEGL 91.1 FM, Auburn.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll. We also got Luke Walker, chief engineer here at WEGL, joining us in the booth for today. We got a lot to get to in the final 30 minutes of the show. We got some baseball pennant chases to talk about, and we got some cookies to eat, so stick around as we got plenty to get to. But first, this is the bottom of the hour, 9:33 a.m., September 27th, 2021. We got your weather report right here if you're listening locally here in Auburn, Alabama. 74 degrees and sunny. Lovely fall morning here, about as fall morning as you can get here in Alabama. It's going to get up to 83 today. That's your high. Your low of 61, probably in the shade. So go ahead and find the shade if you're wearing a sweater like Davis is today. 77 degrees is your morning temp. Probably going to get up to 83 this afternoon. No chance of rain, though, so go ahead and stow away that raincoat. Heading over to the nighttime, you got a 3% chance of rain and a 63 degrees overnight temperature as a few clouds roll in. However, we are looking at mostly clear skies. Once again, Hurricane Sam moving from east to west, across the Atlantic Ocean. Not making landfall yet, not projected to either, but is currently sitting at a Category 4 out in the southern Atlantic. All right, that's going to do it for your weather report for today. But we're going to jump right into Major League Baseball. Once again, as I get this pulled up, I would like to welcome Davis into the show. I'd like to welcome Luke onto the show as well. Davis, do you have a show coming on today?
Today at 4 o'clock. Are you with that? WEGL's favorite hip-hop show, maybe? I don't know if I can make that claim yet, but I will be having Luke on.
I will be there as well.
We'll be working on our playlist later today, trying to get a good flow going.
I would say it's WEGL's best hip hop show.
We got competition with there's a classic hip hop show.
Is there?
Like a 90s hip hop.
Huh.
I don't remember what it's called. I think no, it's not Tate.
Is that new? As of recent?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Jack recorded the imaging for it, but I can't remember what the show was called.
Huh. Got to check that out.
We shall see.
You're crazy for that sweater, by the way. I don't know. It is not that cold.
Well, I asked my Alexa what it was, and she told me it was 54 degrees.
Alexa's over here lying to you?
Our day starts a little earlier than yours, Luke. Don't. The sun's not quite out when Compact Discourse starts.
Like,
True.
I can wear my sweater. I was like, okay. And I got out there, and it was not 54, and I was already running late, so I didn't want to go back in and take it off. So.
Better to have too many layers than too few.
I'll take it off right now. Just for y'all.
Oh, my goodness. All right. While Davis takes off his sweater, we're going to run into the MLB standings, so buckle up. The pennant chases are heating up. In the American League, the Tampa Bay Rays have finally clinched, I believe, their third straight division title with a 97-59 record. Now it's all up to the Yanks and Sox to determine the wild card race. In the Central, the Sox, as we've known for a while, are locking up that Central division, so we will see the Chicago White Sox in the playoffs. They're sitting at 98-68. Out west, we still have plenty to decide as the Houston Astros are sitting on top of the division, but the Mariners and Athletics are going to fight tooth and nail for that second wild card spot. Moving on to the National League, you got the Milwaukee Brewers locking up, clinching that Central division. Once again, you got 94-62 record for the Brewers. However, the wild card is yet to be determined as the Cardinals, Reds, and Phillies are all battling. Out west, you got the San Francisco Giants. They have gotten a playoff spot, but have not yet clinched the division. 102-54 record for the Giants, with an 156 record for the Dodgers right behind them. They're 2 games behind the Giants, rather. So neither of those teams has clinched the division yet. They're fighting for home field advantage out west, are the Dodgers and Giants. We knew it all year, but it is coming down to the final week of the season to see who will come away with that National League West division. All right, and then you got in the Eastern Division, you got Atlanta Braves, 83-72. They are 2.5 games ahead of the Phillies, sitting at 81-75. Those two teams are going to be battling, and it looks like for Philadelphia, it's either division championship or bust, as the Dodgers have the first wild card spot locked up, and it's going to be the Cardinals or the Reds in the second one if they don't play a perfect rest of the season. So that is going to do it for your MLB scoreboard for the final 4 days of the MLB season. Davis, initial reactions?
I think the most exciting fight going on here for me is the NL West. I'm a fan of a team in the NL West, so I've been paying the most attention to it. Padres have very precipitous fall. Now, not even close to, not even going to make playoffs. But I'm rooting for the Giants. I'm not a big Dodgers fan. The lost asterisk rule Dodgers, as you like to say sometimes.
Yes.
There's a few teams obviously said locked it up. I am excited to see the Braves maybe fight for it. But the thing I'm most excited for, I know I've been saying excited a lot this my talking segment here, is that the Mariners are inching towards it. Might be able to break their drought.
Yeah, so let's head on over to the wild card. In the National League, it's a little less interesting, so we'll start there. The Dodgers with a 156 record. I don't know if a 100-win team has ever gotten a wild card spot before, but it could happen this year. They are 13 games positive on that wild card 1 spot. So they're either winning the division or getting that 1 wild card spot. No bones about it. But the second wild card spot is where things get interesting. The resurgent St. Louis Cardinals are on a 15-game winning streak. They have crashed the party and are now sitting pretty 6 games ahead of the Reds. So if the season were to end today, the St. Louis Cardinals would be in that second wildcard spot, and it's going to be pretty hard to dislodge them from it. However, the Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to try their darndest to do so. They need to play pretty much perfect, as their elimination numbers are both 1. So 1 loss, and they're pretty much toast. So that is going to do it for the NL. Heading over to the AL, where things get really interesting, the New York Yankees, after a big series with the Red Sox over the weekend, they are still sitting at 1 game positive on the wild card race. They are 89-67, but hot on their heels are the Boston Red Sox, sitting at 88-68. They currently hold the second wild card spot. So there is a situation, season ended today, we would see 3 ALS teams all in the playoffs. Speaking of the ALS, right behind the Boston Red Sox is the Toronto Blue Jays. They are 1 game behind the Red Sox. And then as far as other teams in contention, you got the 2 teams out west. The Mariners and the A's are 2 games and 3 games back of that second wild card spot, respectively. So a lot can happen in this final week of the season, and 5 teams are going to have to fight it out for 2 spots in the American League wild card race. Who do you like to come out on top in this one, Davis?
For the AL?
Yeah, I mean, you got 5 teams, you got 2 spots. Who do you slot into the wild cards?
I mean, realistically, you'll probably say the Yankees and the Red Sox. But I think Their next few games are at home. They're playing the Athletics and the Angels. And I think, you know what, I'm going to say
the Yankees have 3 games against the Blue Jays, and then they have 3 games against the Rays. And are the Rays going to be resting up before the playoffs, or are they going to be trying to secure home field?
Yeah, if I were the Rays, I just keep going for it. You can rest up, but, how tired are you really getting from playing a few baseball games?
Wow.
Just saying.
You casting dispersions on the...
You sit half the time. I love baseball. I'm not saying it's easy by any stretch of the imagination, but, at the end of the game, you're probably going to be sore, but you're not going to be dead tired like you are playing football. So if I were the Rays, I'd try to go hard against the Yankees, see if you can knock them out, maybe get the Mariners in there, because it'd be a much more likable matchup.
I will say the Red Sox have a much easier schedule. They have 3 games against the Orioles and 3 games against the Nats to interleague play to end off the season. So the Red Sox have a much easier path in their final 6 games. Looking at the final games of the Athletics.
They got the Mariners, of course. Well, it won't show me their games.
It won't show me their games either. Are they hiding something?
I got it. They got the Mariners and they got the Astros for their final series of the season. And if the Astros play like they have been all season, that might be a hard one for them.
Yeah. All right, and then we're going to move on to the marquee matchup, the Atlanta Braves' final 6 games. They got 3 against the Phillies starting tomorrow, and they got 3 against the Mets starting on October 1st. It's all about the Mets, baby. Go Mets. So we are looking at that Phillies versus Braves series. All right, the Phillies and the Braves, 2 NL East rivals chasing the same prize this week at Truist Park in Atlanta. The teams open a 3-game series on Tuesday night in Atlanta, with the Braves holding a 2.5-game lead in their quest for their 4th consecutive NL East title. The Phillies have their backs against the wall as they try to win their first division title since 2011. The Braves' magic number is at 5, meaning any combination of 5 Braves wins and Phillies losses would give Atlanta the title. Fangraphs gives the Braves an 87.3% chance to win the division, with the Phillies having a 12.7% chance if you can subtract from 100. The earliest the Braves can clinch is Thursday, but only if they sweep the series. The Phillies, on the other hand, need to sweep the series to give themselves even a fighting chance, because even if they win twice in Atlanta, they will be 2 back in the loss column with only 3 to play. So here's a look at the upcoming series in Atlanta. On Tuesday, tomorrow, you got Zach Wheeler against Charlie Morton.
That's going to be a difficult one.
That is a great pitching matchup. And then on Wednesday, you got Aaron Nola, who has given the Braves fits all season, against Max Fried. He is 13-7 with a sub 3.5 ERA. Thursday, you got Kyle Gibson versus Ian Anderson. And then who are the players to watch? Of course, you got Bryce Harper, as always. He's a front runner for the NL MVP because of his strong second half. He's batting .347 with 26 doubles, 1 triple, 19 home runs, 48 RBIs, and a 1.225 OPS in the 67 games following the All-Star break. Other notable players on the Phillies, you got Brad Miller at first base and Hector Neris, the right-handed pitcher for the Fightin' Phils. Over on the Braves, you have, of course, the illustrious Freddie Freeman, reigning NL MVP. He's continuing to play well. He's batting .337 with a .951 OPS in September. He's hit 7 of his 31 homers this season so far against the Phillies. You also cannot talk about the Braves without talking about Austin Riley. He's got a slash line of .328, 537. So he's looking to stay hot, is the Braves' third baseman. And then finally, you got Eddie Rosario, the surprise wild card out of the Braves. He's hit 4 homers since September 11th and has a over 1 OPS. So plenty of offense for the Braves. It's going to be, as it always is, whether or not the Braves pitching can stay hot under the pressure.
I think the Braves can pull this one out, but Bryce Harper has a tendency to go like Super Saiyan mode at random times during the season. He is in the MVP race, of course, so you got to watch out for him. There's obviously Didi Gregorius, too, Gene Sakura, Andrew McCutchen. Just depends on how they're feeling this week. Didi's not playing too amazing this season, either is McCutchen, but I think the Braves have a good chance. I would like to see the Braves win. They're kind of the hometown team around here.
All right, so looking at the playoff picture before we head to a break, if the season were to end today, it would be the Tampa Bay Rays in the 1 seed in the AL. They would be playing the winner of the Yankees-Red Sox game. Talk about a playoff matchup between those teams. And then over on the other side of the bracket, it would be the White Sox and the Astros linking up for the ALDS. In the NL, it would be the one-seeded San Francisco Giants taking on the winner of a Dodgers-Cardinals series. And then your 2 and 3 seeds would be, of course, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Atlanta Braves. So those would be your 10 playoff teams if the season were to end today. But, that's why they play the games. 6 games left in the MLB season. We will see who comes out on top and who will be chasing for the pennant as we continue to move out through the week. All right, that's going to do it for MLB Chat. On the other side of the break, we got a lot to get to. I'm hanging out with Luke. I'm hanging out with Davis. You're listening to Compact Discourse on the Big 91 here, WEGL 91.1 FM. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. On the other side of this break, we've got a score to settle. We've got to find the best sandwich cookie in the land, and we need your help. So go ahead and stay tuned in 2 minutes. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on WEGL 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, Weagle FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with Weagle Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WEGLFM.com and Weagle 91.1 FM, Auburn.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Unexpected reactions to smart finance.
Welcome back to Compact Discourse. Right here on WEGL 91.1 FM. I'm your host, Jack Hart, joined alongside Davis Carroll and Luke Walker. We're welcoming you into the booth today for another exciting episode of Compact Discourse. It's a Monday. Thank you for joining us on this fine Monday. It's a fine fall Monday outside as well. Pretty cool, especially in the shade. So go ahead and get the pumpkin spice lattes out and enjoy a hot beverage. Unless you're sitting in the sun, of course, then it's Alabama after all. You can only take as good as you get it. We're talking about cookies coming up here in a little bit because we got a score to settle and an official stance, a line in the sand to draw, if you will. So you're not going to want to miss that. But first, I got to plug stuff. Yeah, that's why we're here. We got Auburn Stages coming up this week, as Dylan mentioned. It's coming up on Thursday. Luke, you'll be helping out with that.
Yeah, we got Sonic Nation, which I guess he already talked about it, but yeah, they're with the College of Music.
Awesome. We also got sushi making September 30th at 5:30 in the Melton Student Center Ballroom. That's brought to you by UPC, the Culinary Club, and the International Student Organization. If you want to learn how to make sushi, a valuable skill, you can go ahead and do that. September 30th, 5:30 p.m. in the Melton Ballroom. That's way upstairs on the 3rd floor. Hope everybody had a good homecoming, a lot of festivities, a lot of fun. You can follow WEGL on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at WEGL_AU to get all the updates on that. You can also follow at Auburn UPC if you want to get updates on all the events UPC has going on. All right, let's get on with the show. I got Davis and I got Luke in here for this week's exciting theme, I think we could call it. We're going to be determining right now definitively what the best chocolate sandwich cookie is once and for all, so you don't have to. And the way we'll be doing that is March Madness style. If you're watching on the video broadcast, I do have a bracket. We will be determining, based on empirical scientific evidence, what the best cookie is. And if you have an opinion on this, you can call in or tweet at us once you go get the cookies yourself. We will be telling you where I got all these cookies so you can make a decision for yourself. Starting off, the first matchup is going to be the All-American, the favorite, the classic, the presumptive heir to the throne, the unassailable Oreo cookie against gluten-free.
I thought you were about to hit a pump fake on that and go for the gluten-free.
Gluten-free.
So the American favorite.
We shall see if the gluten-free chocolate sandwich cookie can hold up to the Oreo. Davis, will you present us with cookies?
So they just want to hear us chew into the microphone, right?
I think we should take turns eating so we're not all chewing at once. I'll let Luke go first.
So smell and I'll give it design.
Should
I go into it?
Yeah. Give it a whiff. It is very chocolatey, as a chocolate sandwich cookie is wont to do. It's very classic. It says Oreo right on the cookie. It's unmistakable. So it says what it does on the wrapper.
Presentation's awesome. Is it my turn?
Go ahead and eat your Oreo cookie, Davis. So Davis and Luke are
that is definitely an Oreo.
Yeah, I mean,
that is
does what it says.
Packaging
does
is
what
not
it says
lying.
on the packaging. It is an Oreo from Nabisco. You can buy these at any retailer, really.
I've had it many times in my life, but
pretty much anywhere business is done, you can pick up an Oreo. All right, I'm gonna eat my Oreo now.
Gluten-free one might throw me for a whirl here in a sec, but I think we're off to a hot start with that Oreo.
Oreo's like the archetype. Everything is it's what I expect everything to be. So it might be kind of unfair that it's in the pool.
Mm-hmm. Y'all ever had the double stuff Oreo?
That's my favorite one.
I'm with that.
I thought it was important to include the Oreo. Maybe we could have a big upset.
We could.
Like, you don't just hand the crown over to Virginia. You gotta make them play UMBC.
You've got a good point.
And UMBC might just win. All right, so I had my Oreo. It was classic. It's about what you expect, and it's the one to beat. So, you would like to partake in the gluten-free cookie now, Luke? Bottoms up.
Cheers.
Just from appearance, I will say I do enjoy.
Yeah, it's cool.
There's holes in the cookie, so where you can see the sandwich cream inside.
I will say a lot of the cookies in there are offset. I had to fix mine so it's like correct, but like half of them are just like this.
Mm-hmm.
They all like look kind of wonky.
As a general rule, we will just be eating the cookie as a cookie. There will be no peeling apart or licking. We're judging them purely as on their value as a cookie.
Main difference there, I would say texture.
Yeah.
It's a little rougher. Almost like a little plasticky,
a little mealy
aftertaste.
Okay.
I'm not
you can't finish it.
I mean, I can finish
Come on,
it,
Davis.
Be a man. All right, I'll let Luke continue his analysis while I eat the cookie.
Definitely a little different texture than the Oreo there. It doesn't quite as much melt in your mouth.
It starts out like the crunch on it is a lot more substantial, and it starts out tasting pretty good to me, or good, I'll just say. But then it just kind of, the aftertaste to it is just not good. That's usually what happens with gluten type stuff.
I think initially it was there.
Could I get a little palate cleanser, Jack? Would you mind?
Yeah. So,
I will say,
it starts off very crunchy. It's very crunchy, but it does have a bit of an edge. It ends with like a plasticky taste, like you said. So, I don't really know what to make of that. I think we can. I'm glad I've tried it. But
it's an experience.
I think unfortunately, for the Vegas odds, the Cinderella story for the gluten-free cookie is going to have to come to an end right now, as I think we're all going to pick Oreo to move on to the next round.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty clearly.
That's going to do it. In a blowout, Oreo defeats gluten-free cookie.
3-0. That is brutal.
All right, coming up next, we got the Twist and Shouts. Favorite of me. I'm going to try and stay unbiased, but I love a Twist and Shout. Twist and Shout, if you don't know, is the Great Value brand. You can pick these up at Walmart or Walmart-related stores. They're taking on the chocolate creams of Publix. Now, we are to stay unbiased in terms of packaging, but I will say the packaging for the chocolate creams is very cool. Has a panda bear on it.
The Panda Witch.
Just from looking at it, I don't know. It looks a little weak on the stuffing already. It might be a half stuff here, but
so looking at the Twist and Shout, it is a thin cookie. Luke, if you want to go ahead, it's got flowers on it instead of any. If you showed this to an alien, they probably wouldn't be able to deduce that it was a Twist and Shout or where it came from. But it does have flowers on it and a very immaculate pattern.
It smells awesome too.
That's probably the best smell we've gotten. It tastes like freshly baked.
Would you like a whiff? It smells like the ones that came in Lunchables when you were a kid.
Okay.
Like the generic ones.
But the cream does not go all the way to the edge on the Twist and Shout.
definitely more of the cookie heavy on that one. It's got a way more overpowering presence than the Oreo. But
all right, I'm gonna have a bite of mine.
I think next cookie we should all eat it at the same time and just chew into the microphone for our listeners. I think they would probably appreciate that.
Twisted Shout cookie taste is a little overwhelming for me.
I really enjoy the cookie though. Like it's overwhelming, but
It is
great,
good.
It's a great
Yeah.
taste.
It's definitely a different
You wouldn't
taste.
even know it's a sandwich cookie if not for the texture. If that makes sense.
I think it could use a little more cream, personally.
Like I said, the cream doesn't go all the way to the edge. So you don't really notice it.
The cookie part has a similar taste to another snack I've had before. Maybe like graham crackers
Those
or
little
something?
chocolate Teddy Graham crackers. Is that?
That's what it is.
Yes,
That is what it
those
is.
are good. That is a pretty
Overall, the
similar taste.
cookie is probably. I mean, that steals the show. The Twist and Shout cookie is unassailable.
I think the cookie is.
But we might have to. We'll see how it fins up against the chocolate cream. All right. So next up, taking on the Twist and Shout, is the chocolate cream from Publix, the so-called Panda Witch, if you will.
Ooh.
This one also has flowers on the cookie, but unmistakably, it does say Publix on it. It also looks a bit smaller than Twist and Shout. I think the cookie maybe. Can you compare the size for us, Davis?
Yes.
Chocolate cream versus Twist and Shout.
It is.
It looks
a little bit smaller,
but it is taller. Like the cookies are thicker.
So there's thickness, and then there's size. You can see the little bit of an aura. You can't because my fingers are there, but you can see it's a little bit. Twisted Shout's a little bit bigger.
I wonder why they went with the Publix on the cookie itself as well. That seems like maybe an unnecessary extra step.
Just letting you know where it's from.
Gotta let.
It doesn't smell as good to me personally.
Doesn't smell. Yeah, it doesn't smell like much. If I'm being honest, it does have more.
Like a fruity scent.
Does have more cream. Does appear that the cream goes all the way to the edge in some parts of this cookie as well.
Mine
Which
doesn't.
it
Mine's kind of offset. All right, Luke.
All right.
Go for it.
Let's go for it.
So this is to take on. This is only compared to the Twist and Shout. Don't put the Oreos and the gluten-free cookies out of your mind.
Those glutinos.
This is only to have the right to move on against the twist and shout.
Way more cream heavy on the Publix one. Much less of a cookie presence there.
Now, I will say what inspired this whole challenge was I got some duplex creams, which is one side vanilla, one side chocolate from Publix. And the cream was very lackluster. Not great cream. It was more like a frosting. It was very loose. It squeezed out of the cookie. It was a mess. But it seems that this is a much more traditional. I'm not getting any cream out from squeezing this cookie, so Publix may have a different cream brand depending on the cookie type.
I liked that.
Yeah, that was good. I had never had that before.
I think they've kind of figured out how to do the cream their own way.
It is a very unique filling.
He just kind of takes a step back and lets it work.
Lets the cream shine.
I personally might have an upset here. What do you think, Jack? Let you finish chewing first, obviously. Publix?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Publix on this one.
It's got a graham crackeriness that I don't know if I enjoy. I don't enjoy the cookie taste as much as the twist and shout. Is that fair?
That is fair.
I think the texture was very good. It went down very smooth. Like, it only took a few chews. It wasn't too crunchy. But I don't know if I liked the flavor as much.
So I don't think the cookie was as good, but I think the overall ratio is better.
I think you're right.
So,
yeah, if it was just a cookie off, I think the twist and shout would win.
Definitely.
However, I think the chocolate cream, the Panda Witch, might be hitting a buzzer beater here.
I'm voting Panda Witch personally.
I'm there.
Moving on to the next round. All right.
Awesome.
You heard it here first, folks. Is my marker over there? Yeah, it is. So I'm going to officially submit into the record that the Oreo defeated the gluten-free cookie pretty handily. We'll give it a 3-0. And we'll say that the chocolate cream upset over the twist and shout, we'll give it a 2-1. Although I think I might be buying twist and shouts in the future just based off the cookie.
I will say the twist and shout has the best packaging of all of them.
Well.
Like resellability.
Oh, interesting.
Convenience.
Even better than the Oreo?
I think so, because it's actually staying closed. The Oreo, you can see, is kind of... I have issues with Oreo things, because sometimes they'll kind of bow open a little bit, and there's just a little... It's not airtight. But this one's...
That's why you gotta...
military grade.
You gotta open it and eat it all in one sitting.
I can't do
so.
that. That's what you have to do with the creams and the glutinos. That's why I don't like those packaging.
All right, so here's where it currently stands. If you're watching on our video broadcast, I do have the bracket for you. The Oreos defeated the gluten-free cookies, and the Twist and Shouts defeated the chocolate creams. Coming up tomorrow, we're going to be tasting the Walmart sandwich cookies that are not Twist and Shouts, just a different Walmart branded cookie, against the S.E. Grocers cookie from Winn-Dixie. We're also going to be having the Kroger cookie taking on the Piggly Wiggly cookie. So stay tuned tomorrow as the cookie challenge continues, as we on Compact Discourse are doing the heavy lifting for you and determining what the best sandwich cookie in the land is. So don't go anywhere, because we got that coming up all this week. We'll crown a champion on Thursday to determine the best sandwich cookie ever. Any final thoughts from this cookie adventure?
That was a pretty big surprise for the Publix one for me. The smell really kind of put me off at first, but I like the taste.
Yeah, the whole challenge was based off a bad Publix cookie I had. So to have them come in and kind of shock the competition, very surprising to me.
I will say I'm looking forward to the potential of one day having a Chippers competition, a chocolate chip cookie competition.
That is an interesting proposition.
I already have my favorite, and it's not Chips Ahoy.
What's your favorite?
Chippers from Walmart.
That could be next week. We'll see. Only one way to find out, and that's tuning into Compact Discourse right here on WEGL. Thank you so much for listening to this exciting episode of Compact Discourse. However you joined us today, whether that be from your terrestrial radio antenna, the information superhighway, WEGLFM.com, or watching our live stream or podcast. We want to remind you that all of our previous episodes are available as a podcast, commercial-free, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Compact Discourse. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CDiscAU. That's at CDISCAU. If you want to get updates on the show, important information, and more, you can follow the station, WEGL, on Twitter and Instagram at WEGL_AU. That's WEGL_AU on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And with that, for Jack Hart, Davis Carroll, and Luke Walker, thank you for joining me on another exciting episode of Compact Discourse. we'll talk at you tomorrow morning on Tuesday. We'll be talking about not sports, hopefully. Although we got Chris Tobias coming in tomorrow, as it is Tuesday, so we may be talking about Auburn wide receivers, as he can't seem to stop talking about that. As always, I've been Jack Hart. We'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. And War Eagle, go 1-0.
I feel completely recharged.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.